probably got time for one more video here today. And I think we're going to do a little Amazing Lucas. I cannot handle another Tim Pool right now. Amazing Lucas doesn't like that the Kentucky governor tried to shut down a church. How dare he try to protect people from COVID-19? Let's watch.
Kentucky, what is going on? Oh my goodness. So I just want to say happy Easter Sunday to everyone, especially those in Kentucky. Because if you haven't heard this story is just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, okay? it's just mind-blowing, all right? Because you have the mayor of Kentucky who tried to ban all church services. Do you hear me? Try to ban all church services today.
Yes, because the people most likely to go to church are the ones most at risk of catching coronavirus and dying from it. Social distancing is being done for a reason. Your obsession with an invisible sky fairy does not change your ability to catch or die coronavirus.
Including drive-ins. Now, what that means is you're in your car, not near anyone else, and you're just trying to listen to the word of God. That's what that means. Try to ban everything. This is then heard by a judge. And the judge...
The problem with drive-ins, this is another great pose. I'm glad I serendipitously got to this one. The issue with drive-ins is that you're still, the reason why we say 6 feet apart is because it's a good measure to keep people from, it decreases exposure at the greatest extent while still allowing people who have to be close together to be close together. Ideally, no one should be close together, but, shit happens. So the problem with drive-in church services is that they're still going to be close together. And moreover, these people are... You're not necessarily locked in your cars or anything. There's nothing stopping someone from getting out and, just getting outside and standing there and praising and screaming or whatever they do at church. And if a bunch of people do that, then there's no point in everyone being in their car. They're exposed. So, yes, shelter at home, stay at home. It's the only way we're going to stop COVID-19 from killing literally millions of people.
Obviously strikes it down because it's some nonsense. the judge was like, yo, you can miss me with this nonsense. And goes on to comment that this is something you would see out of a dystopian page of a novel or something by The Onion. That's what the judge says. And get this, the judge then goes on to grant the church, do you hear what I'm saying? The church, on fire Christian church, goes on to grant that church a restraining order on the mayor and on the city of Kentucky. I have never heard of such. Imagine how bad it's gotten, where judges are given restraining orders.
I'm sorry. I'm speechless. I gotta look that up. What the fuck? On Fire Christian Church versus Greg Fisher et al. Okay. It was a Trump judge. That explains it. Judge Justin Walker, and a very recent 38-year-old Trump appointee to a federal court in Kentucky, begins his opinion on Fire Christian Center versus Fisher. claims the center was preventing him from hosting an Easter service as if he is the only thing protecting civilization from a cartoonishly evil tyrant. On Holy Thursday, an American mayor criminalized the communal celebration of Easter. Absolutely not. What he did was he criminalized gathering to celebrate Easter. There's a difference. That sentence is one that this court never expected to see outside the pages of a dystopian novel or perhaps the pages of The Onion. Am I reading the same article he did? Probably. Not long after, Vox isn't above their incendiary language either. Serious doubts emerged that the attack on Easter that the judge warned of actually ever existed? Yeah. Oh, what's this? The judge, the Trump judge, didn't follow procedure and just sided with the church because he's a right wing conservative Christian? You don't say. The case involves Louisville, Kentucky Mayor Greg Fisher's efforts to keep individuals from spreading the coronavirus. Right? On Fire Christian Center wished to hold drive-in Easter services. It claims the parishioners would be required to remain in their cars and that the pastor and other church employees would be appropriately socially distanced from the parked worshippers. Nevertheless, On Fire claimed that Fisher attempted to shut down these services. After seeking relief in federal court, On Fire wound up before the unusually pugnacious conservative Judge Walker. Walker has lived a charmed life for a man only 38 years of age, a former intern to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, and law clerk to future Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Walker has never tried a case and was confirmed to the federal trial bench despite the American Bar Association, so he's not even qualified according to the ABA. And Trump, holy shit. Well, we know who's going to take RBG's place if she dies while Trump's in office. Jesus. Much of his opinion is devoted to largely irrelevant history about pilgrims, and even more irrelevant reminders that in the past some prominent Democrats were members of the Ku Klux Klan. He goes 6 pages talking about irrelevant history before he gets to the actual facts of the case. Tales of slaves being beaten for attending prayer meetings alongside reminders that some... Holy shit. A Christian ministry wanted to hold a kind of drive-in Easter Sunday service where parishioners would remain in their cars. Da da da. The band such... Yes! If Walker is correct about what is actually at stake in this case, then he is most likely correct that Fisher may not forbid this ministry from holding Easter services under these very limited conditions. But it is far from clear that Walker accurately described the facts of this case, and even if he did, his opinion reads less like a judicial decision and more like a screed against Democrats published like in an outlet like Breitbart. See, is this the whole... How many pages is it? 20 pages. Okay, this is... On Holy Thursday, an American mayor criminalized the communal celebration of Easter. 2 days ago, citing the need for social distancing during the current pandemic, Louisville's Mayor Greg Fisher ordered Christians not to attend Sunday services even if they remained in their cars to worship, and even though it's Easter. The mayor's decision is stunning, and it is, beyond all reason, unconstitutional. Citing precedent, allegedly. According to St. Paul, the first pilgrim was Abel. With Enoch, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Sarah, they died in faith, not having received the promises of God's promised kingdom, but they saw them afar off, and were persuaded of them, and embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on earth. The Plymouth colony's second governor, William Bradford, alluded to St. Paul's pilgrims when he recalled, Years later, his fellow colonists' departure from England. The land they were leaving was comfortable and familiar. The ocean before them was, for them, unknown and dangerous. So too was the New World, where half would not survive the first winter. Yeah, this is all just irrelevant fucking history. Holy shit. No place, not even the unknown, is worse than any place whose state forbids the exercise of your sincerely held religious beliefs. Wow. This guy is a judge on the second highest court in the land. That brings us to this case. All of this should have been excised. Like, if he had a clerk worth his salt, he would have been like, all right, so the first 6 pages just need to go, man. In order to challenge a government action in federal court, a plaintiff must show that they were injured in some way by that government action and that injury has to be more than speculative. Right? Lawyers who wish to challenge state bans on contraception on the mid 20th century had to find a person who'd actually been prosecuted under those laws to proceed with their challenge. It's also why lawyers challenging Texas's ban on sodomy had to find a client who had actually been prosecuted under that ban. Walker claims that Louisville has targeted religious worship by prohibiting drive-in church services, but it's not at all clear. Yeah, he's just no. So the church asks, so we want to have a church service. Can we gather? Will there be more than 10 people there? Well, yeah, but they'll all be in their car. No, you can't gather. There's a quarantine. Go the fuck home. Mayor Fisher, for his part, says that he attempted twice to contact the court so that he could present evidence that would have demonstrated there has been no legal enforcement mechanism communicating regarding the drive-in services that were supposedly being banned. So what this means is that, from what I'm understanding here, Fisher strongly recommended that they not hold the drive-in service. But he didn't say, if you do this, you will be arrested, or you will be fined, or we will shut down your church. He just said, it's not a good idea to do this. I'm not going to endorse it. But, you do you. Or if it would have only enforced a ban on services that violated social, then the apocalyptic dispute Walker describes in opinion simply doesn't exist. Yeah. So this is a situation where the governor made a very reasonable decision, or the mayor made a very reasonable decision to say, hey, you do what you do, but I cannot condone a gathering like this, even if everyone stays in their car. And the church was like, well, that's not right. We should have your blessing, and we deserve it. So they took it to federal court, where it somehow landed on the District of Columbia Circuit Court and the docket of Justin Walker, who apparently saw it as his opportunity to, audition for a higher job. And given that he's already at what is considered the second highest court in the country, where can he go from there? So yeah, this is all bullshit.
And on the city of Kentucky. I have never heard of such. Imagine how bad it's gotten, where judges are giving restraining orders to mayors and cities for churches. All right, imagine that a church needs a restraining order. That is.
I love how he's framing this as the church needs the restraining order and not that the judge was a fucking lunatic.
Man, this is some scary times, people. This is some scary times we're dealing with. But it gets better, because you would think they would get the hint, right? You would think these knuckleheads would get the hint, like, yo, ease up, ease up. They don't. This then leads to the governor now issuing misdemeanor violations to everyone who goes to church, to these in-person gatherings. Everyone who goes to church. Imagine coming back from church, right? You getting the word of God, you come back from church. Church is like, ooh, Jesus is risen, amen.
Yeah, you violated the shelter-in-place order. You violated the quarantine. Potentially, COVID-19 could spread through the people who go to that service and could lead to thousands of people dying. At least hundreds of people dying. What's the population of Louisville? Pretty big city. $602,000 people at greater risk because someone who is potentially infected decided they knew better than the medical professionals who were recommending everyone stay home. So they went to church. And then, because again, the 6 feet rule doesn't mean that we've discovered COVID-19 dies at 5 feet 11 and 3/4 inches. It's again because that's a good distance to keep people safe and separated. If someone is sick with COVID-19 and you've got your windows down so you can hear the minister talk on stage, and you cough those COVID germs out, and it drifts over to the car next to you who also has their window open so they can hear the person talk, that you're not isolating them. And even if it is a situation where they've got like a radio broadcaster on the stage, so you just tune your radio, FM radio, to the correct place, to the correct station to listen to it through the stereo. I mean, what's the current temperature in Louisville? $52 degrees. We're having particularly cold. Let's see, can I? But yeah. I mean, we're looking at 60s and 70s. We're having a cold snap right now. What do you think it was last Sunday? Think it was warmer or colder? Because my point is one of two things is happening. Either they're opening the windows to allow air to get in for them to feel more comfortable, or they're running the car to run either the heater or the air conditioner, in which case they're introducing air from the outside in, even if all their windows are up and sealed and they've got a perfect airtight seal, which there is no airtight seal in a car. You have to be able to breathe. These gatherings are a bad idea in a quarantine. But people got to have their church.
And you see some sorry citation, some misdemeanor violation on your windshield, right? Man, that would be, you would go into the flesh so quick, you'd be like, God, the devil is a lie. The devil is a lie. I don't believe this. Just throw it away or something. It would just completely ruin your day for going to church. On top of that, what they have decided to do is record people's license plates. Record your license plate as you go to church and then report you to health officials in attempts to then have you, I guess, a mandatory, because I don't know how they would enforce this, but a mandatory 14-day quarantine.
Yeah, because apparently Kentucky doesn't have the tests to run on all these people, so the next best thing is a quarantine. You risk exposure. It's the exact same thing as if someone was in a lab with an actual exposure. The proper response to that is self-quarantine. The only way to be sure.
You going to church, people writing down your license plates, reporting you, saying, hey, they're breaking state orders, and then forcing you, after you go to church, mandatory 14-day quarantine. This is, you know what this is, right? You know what this is. This is like some, like
Wannabe theocrats trying to institute fascism in America?
like the judge said, some dystopian.
Are his earrings in backwards? It's been bothering me what looked weird about his earrings. It looks like they're in, like the back you take off of the earring is out. Why? Why?
Future, something out of like the 1984 or something. I don't like this is really you just have to take a pause, right? You just need a pause just to catch your breath.
I love when right wing idiots like this use 1984 as an example of government crackdown, completely missing that it was supposed to be. A lot of people think it's a critique of communism, when in reality it's a critique of late stage capitalism.
Just reading some of these articles, just reading what's going on in the name of safety, in the name of safety, in the name of security, how certain rights, certain freedoms are just yeet. they just yeeting your rights and freedoms. Just this, there's a virus here. Yeet, you don't get to peacefully assemble. there's a virus here. Yeet, your First Amendment is gone. So I don't mean to be flippant, but I think it's quite interesting, and I think people should take note as to how many are responding due to fear. All right, how many those in power are responding due to fear? How many are those who are responding due to fear and panic? And especially on Easter Sunday, you have to remind yourself that God didn't give you a spirit of fear. God, that has nothing to do
All right. Well, maybe he actually has more to say.
with God. God didn't give you a spirit of fear, but He gave you a spirit of power, of love, and of a sound mind. So those three things you got to hold on to. you got to hold on to, especially when the going gets tough. All right, the tough get going, and you have to. If you're not going with your Bible, then I don't know where you going. You going in the wrong direction, pimping. And for those of you who are agnostics or atheists, whatnot, well, you can. I don't know what to tell you. Y'all can skip over this part, but it is what it is. So I just want people to stay strong, man. Stay strong. Keep me.
Yeah, that was a lot less substantive than I thought it was. He usually has a little bit more substance to his bullshit. Yeah, the mayor and the governor are not acting out of fear. They're acting out of an abundance of caution because of what expert opinions have told them is the likely outcome. I know you don't like to hear that because you and your ilk like to downplay experts and denigrate their opinions, make them sound stupid when it's really aggravating when we have situations where an expert makes a recommendation. People follow the recommendation and it's not as bad as the expert warned. See, what do they know? It got better. It got better because people heeded the expert's opinion. Just like the reason why swine flu and other diseases like that in the past haven't been as bad is because experts were listened to, and we changed behaviors and took actions to mitigate those outbreaks. We're seeing what happens when people ignore experts and don't work to mitigate outbreaks. I don't care about your religion. I care about your impact on the world. And if your impact on the world creates problems like this gathering could do, then I don't care what will you went out with, what good heart, what strength, what honesty. You're a monster. So stay the fuck home, people. It's the only way we're going to beat this. Hey, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. Remember to like, share, and leave a comment because it helps me. Subscribe and ring that bell to help you. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.